It is moon phases are, in my opinion, a non-issue when it comes to catching bass or things that bass do. There are a lot of other variables that are more of a factor than moon phase. Now, a lot of people may or may not disagree with this because back in the 70s and 80s, the moon phases were like everybody talked about them. Like that was a big influencer for what fish do. But I have been a student of bass behavior and things that bass do for almost 50 years now. And guys, I don't see hardly any correlation in different type of moon phases versus what the fish are doing. But I'm going to explain some things that I'm pretty confident are true on this. Now, first of all, a lot of people associate moon phases with like bass spawning. And there is some truth to the fact that normally a large population of bass will spawn in and around the first full moon in April or March or May, whenever the water temperature first hits the low 60s. That probably has the bigger influence on it than anything, because you'll have a lot of fish spawning around that full moon, when that water temperature gets 60 degrees. And this is especially true the farther south you go. It probably has the biggest play I've ever seen in Florida. Florida bass do have some type of there's some correlation there, but in my opinion, it's not a major correlation. When you're talking in terms of bass feeding and how bass react and how bass, position themselves and whatever in and around different moon phases, one of the things that I have found in my own personal experience, there's other factors that outweigh that they're far more important. Now let's talk a little bit about that spawn type deal, which is the most, talked about part of the moon phase. Let's say, for example, everything's perfect. You got a full moon, second week of April, water temperatures in and around 60 degrees. So there ought to be a big wave of fish moving up and spawning. Now, this is not necessarily true because, in my opinion, temporary weather patterns that come in outweigh any impact that the moon has whatsoever. So say, for example, if you got everything's perfect, conditions are perfect, and then all of a sudden you get this bad front come through, bluebird skies, north wind, it gets cold, that is going to have more of an impact on those fish than the particular moon phase. The rest of the year, as far as how fish bite according to moon phases, a lot of people have followed this thing called the Solinar tables. And the Solinar tables were developed a long time ago that predicts wildlife activity for fish and animals based upon different moon phases. Guys, I have not seen any correlation to that whatsoever in my own fishing. To me, it's more about triggering reaction strikes,